Nothing happening in Ukraine or the Middle East is more important than what is happening here inside our country. I strongly believe that. So I would disengage from whatever we're doing overseas. Get immediately out of Ukraine. That's over. That war is done. Stop aiding it. Get out. People say, well, we can't just leave. Really? That's what we did after 10 years in Vietnam. We do this repeatedly. We go in, we make a mess of it, and then we leave. Well, this time we just need to leave. There are no Russian armies poised to invade anybody in Western Europe. Nobody in their right mind in the Kremlin wants to rule Western Europe. What a mess. Forget it. So the point is, let's get straight what's most important. That border, the immigration issue, illegal, the restoration of the rule of law, suppressing, stopping the criminality. Those things are all at the top. They should come first before anything else.
As the U.S. faces unprecedented internal challenges, Douglas Macgregor delivers a bold message. Our leaders must prioritize America's own security before meddling in foreign conflicts. But what does this mean for the future of our nation, and how will it change the global order? Douglas Macgregor stresses the need for clear leadership and focused priorities, warning against an overwhelming agenda that ignores the immediate crises at home, particularly the border security and criminality issues. He suggests that the U.S. should pause its foreign engagements, including the war in Ukraine, to concentrate on restoring order within its own borders and tackling internal threats head-on. As we transition from a deep analysis of General Douglas Macgregor's perspectives on the ongoing conflict, it's time to focus on the present-day situation that continues to evolve, especially with new and concerning updates from Ukraine. Over the past few days, the narrative has shifted significantly. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has made alarming remarks regarding Ukraine's financial support, and it's crucial to understand the implications of this statement. Simultaneously, the Russian side has presented its own version of events, offering a different lens through which we can view the unfolding crisis. Let's dive into these revelations and the current strategic situation. In the last few days, President Zelensky's remarks have raised significant eyebrows in the international community. He revealed that Ukraine has only received about $75 billion of the $177 billion promised by the United States. Despite claims of a more substantial sum, Zelensky directly refuted the idea that Ukraine had received $200 billion to support its military efforts, questioning the whereabouts of the missing funds. This statement has sparked a flurry of debate, not only among the public, but also within the political echelons of Ukraine and its allies. Zelensky's frustration with the financial shortfall reflects a growing concern about the true extent of Western support and the practical consequences for Ukraine's ability to continue its defense operations effectively. Zelensky also voiced a more somber note regarding the future of the conflict, suggesting that Ukraine has suffered huge losses and is now closer to peace than ever before in the 3 years since the war began. This marks a stark shift in tone, hinting that Ukraine might be preparing for possible peace negotiations. While this may be seen by some as a pragmatic acknowledgement of the dire situation on the ground, it is also a significant pivot from the earlier rhetoric of relentless resistance. This statement has prompted some to speculate that Ukraine may be starting to consider the possibility of compromises, especially given the ongoing strain on resources and personnel. However, just as Ukraine faces internal and external pressures, Russia has been actively shaping its own narrative. According to the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, NATO is reportedly preparing to expose corruption within Ukraine's leadership. Specifically, there are claims that Zelensky's administration has embezzled approximately $1.5 billion allocated for military procurement. The intelligence agency also highlighted the disturbing claim that salaries for dead Ukrainian soldiers, some 130,000 in total, have continued to be drawn abroad, with these personnel still officially listed as alive. This echoes similar patterns seen in Afghanistan during the U.S. withdrawal, where reports surfaced that the Afghan army, once heralded as a massive force, was essentially non-existent when the Taliban seized control of the country. These allegations point to deeper issues surrounding military accountability and the mismanagement of funds, which could significantly damage Ukraine's international credibility. The Russian Foreign Intelligence Service also speculated that the same patterns of corruption that plagued Afghanistan may be at play in Ukraine, with potentially devastating consequences. These allegations come at a time when Russia is facing its own mounting losses and struggles, further escalating tensions between the two sides. Looking beyond the political realm, the military situation on the ground continues to evolve. In the Suja direction, Russian forces have maintained an aggressive offensive operation. Recent reconnaissance missions revealed significant concentrations of Ukrainian forces near the city of Sumy, which led to a series of missile strikes from Russian forces. The Ukrainians suffered heavy losses, and it is clear that the Russians have increasingly gained control over key supply routes, particularly along the N07 road. This vital artery for Ukrainian logistics has become a focal point of the conflict, with Russian forces deploying cutting-edge FPV, first-person view, drones and fiber optic technology to disrupt Ukrainian movements and destroy their vehicles. The effectiveness of these drones is becoming increasingly apparent as the Ukrainians find themselves unable to counter this new technology effectively. In response, Ukrainian forces have attempted to adapt by utilizing alternative routes for their supply lines. A new path from Sumy through various villages is being used to evade Russian drone control, but this strategy comes with its own set of risks. The Russians have been intensifying their operations in the southern part of Suja, working to break through Ukrainian defense lines. If successful, they could gain control over critical settlements like Garal and Gua, further undermining Ukraine's ability to maintain its logistical operations in the region. The focus on these key supply routes highlights a crucial component of the war: logistics. It's clear that without secure and uninterrupted lines of communication and supply, military operations become increasingly difficult, if not impossible. The Russians understand this dynamic all too well and have concentrated their efforts on disrupting Ukrainian logistics to undermine their ability to conduct operations. By tightening their grip on these critical routes, Russia can isolate Ukrainian forces, forcing them into a more vulnerable position. Looking ahead, the situation in the northern Kupiansk direction is also evolving. Reports indicate that Russian forces have made significant strides, improving their positions near the settlement of Zapad and the Askol River. This improvement, combined with the Russian military's focus on advancing new technological capabilities, suggests that a large-scale offensive may be imminent. The introduction of advanced fiber optic drones is expected to change the course of the war, enabling the Russians to establish encirclements and destroy Ukrainian forces without putting boots on the ground. This represents a major shift in military strategy and a technological leap that Ukraine has yet to match. The capabilities provided by these drones could give Russia a significant edge in future engagements. The situation in the southern and southwestern parts of Ukraine also remains critical. The Russians are continuing their operations, gradually advancing and improving their positions. In the past 24 hours, Russian forces have taken control of strategic strongholds between Ivanovka and Kody, narrowing the gap and positioning themselves for a potential offensive. If successful, they could soon threaten the village of Kody, forcing Ukrainian forces to retreat further southwest. This could disrupt the Ukrainian defensive lines and open the door for further Russian advancements in the region. In the broader context of the conflict, the coming months promise to be a turning point. While both sides continue to engage in military operations, the political and financial ramifications of the war are beginning to surface. The allegations of corruption within Ukraine's leadership, combined with the financial strain, point to the possibility of a reevaluation of strategy on both sides. As the war drags on, the pressure to negotiate a settlement will likely increase, with both Ukraine and Russia facing internal and external challenges. The coming months will likely determine the course of the conflict, with both military and diplomatic efforts playing a key role in shaping the future. Ultimately, the picture emerging from Ukraine is complex and fraught with challenges. The financial situation, the evolving military tactics, and the shifting political dynamics all contribute to the uncertain future of the conflict. While Zelensky's statements suggest a potential move toward peace, the situation on the ground remains volatile, and Russia has a clear plan to continue its pressure on Ukraine. The coming weeks and months will be critical in determining how this conflict unfolds, and the international community will be watching closely to see how these developments play out. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the developments we just covered? How do you feel about the situation in Ukraine, especially with the latest revelations about Zelensky and the financial transparency surrounding the war? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your opinions. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss out on the latest updates. We've got a lot more coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.